The death of Reddit.
Good evening, everyone. It's with a heavy heart that I have to deliver some tragic news that I'm sure you've already seen and have probably spent the better part of your afternoon crying about. Reddit is currently down. The narwhal is not baconing today, my friends. This is not a wholesome Chungus moment. Reddit is offline, and there's good reason for it. Many of you probably saw over the last week or so that there was an organized protest with most of the subreddits on the platform about API changes, and maybe there's too much mumbo-jumbo, scary, frightening big words and acronyms that you didn't even bother to look into.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do here is break down the situation on why there was a Reddit strike in the first place and what the future could hold for all the Reddit mods that are now stranded without a home to go back to or a place, a domain to rule over. Now,
Go to Discord.
I joke about the situation, but Reddit is legitimately one of the top 10 most visited sites in the world, so the fact that it's down right now due to this strike is actually really impressive.
It's a big fucking deal. It absolutely is. Like, people were really pissed off about this. It's not like, because usually, I mean, like, there have been other protests where, like, people change their banner or something like that, but it doesn't really matter. But, like, here's what my opinion on this is. It's not going to matter if everybody just turns it back on in 2 days. Like, if the people were just, like, straight up, we aren't going to use this website anymore, and we're going to private everything until this is changed, then it will matter. But, like, think about if you run Reddit. Oh, okay, so we don't get traffic for 2 days, but then we can just do whatever we want. Isn't that, like, a very easy decision to make? I would say it is. It needs to keep going. It needs to keep going indefinitely.
Genuinely surprising how much the community came together in order to protest the Reddit changes. So, what sparked this Armageddon, this doomsday for Redditors? It was a change to how Reddit was going to be conducting business. They did their best EA impression here and got very greedy. So they decided they were going to start charging for API access, and they were charging a fucking fat load of barnacles for it too. API access allows things like third-party apps to exist. It needs the API access to function, and Reddit was going to begin charging for that access. So the biggest one is called Apollo, and it helps users read Reddit threads. It's something many power users were familiar with, but something I didn't know about until recently.
Yeah, I don't use that.
And according to the developer of Apollo, it would cost nearly $20 million annually under this new pricing model.
Jesus.
Which is a ton of pickles. That's far beyond the realm of possibility for pretty much any third-party developer. So, effectively, Reddit was killing third-party apps because nobody could afford to pay the API fee for their services.
Yeah, it's
anymore.
insane.
And it didn't just affect third-party apps; it also affected mod tools, as I understand it as well.
That's what I've heard,
this new
too.
pricing scheme, fresh out of the brain of Mr. Krabs, shaking everyone down for their lunch money, had a large set of consequences that effectively shut off a lot of what people were used to, and it wasn't something that the community was thrilled about. This was not a policy change that was getting a lot of updoots. So,
No, it wasn't. I don't think anybody wanted this except for the people that are making money off of it. That's it. Like, yeah, it's literally that simple. There's nothing more complicated than that. That's it.
the community, as well as a lot of the biggest subreddit mods, as well as just the biggest subreddits in general, came together and decided that they were going to do a strike, a Reddit blackout, where they're going to be taking their subreddits private, meaning you can't access them anymore. Basically just shutting them down temporarily.
Like, if I was Reddit and, like, the subreddit, like, this is what I would do, is I would just make it to where you can't private a subreddit. Like, I would just do that. If people are complaining about this shit, just make it to where you can't private the subreddit and problem solved. But the truth is that people will eventually turn on the add-on, on the API developers and the add-on developers. They will turn on them because the users don't really care about the add-ons. Most people that use Reddit probably don't use third-party tools. So these problems are just problems that are affecting a small subset of Reddit users, either the mods or the power users. So it's kind of like a nerd problem, kind of. Yeah, you guys are right. So eventually they will earn the resentment of the users because the users don't care about capitalism or socialism or what's fair or what's not fair. Is this extortion? They want to look at chonkers. And if you can't look at chonkers, well, then that's a problem. And they don't care about any other reason why, oh, well, it's because of this. No, we don't need to hear that.
And that's led to our current situation. There was even a live stream tracking how many subreddits were going offline, and it's still going right now. And you can see, it's a lot. I also tuned into this stream a little bit last night, and I bore witness to one of the saddest things I've ever laid my eyes upon.
What's that?
Breaking news, r/tits went down. That'll finally put the pressure on the Reddit admins to overturn their decision here. No more r/tits. Jesus Christ, it's getting serious. And it's only continued to get more serious. We're in the in-game now. Not only is r/tits banished to the Shadow Realm in protest, r/tinytits has also vanished. So if that doesn't put the screws on the Reddit admins to overturn this greedy policy, I just don't know what will. Now, I genuinely do think that this strike...
Maybe, dude. Yeah, they're trying to shut it down. Weeb small thing? I guess so.
...has been remarkably successful. This is a legitimate we did it Reddit moment. The site isn't working because so many subreddits have gone offline.
Well, doesn't, like, they haven't done anything yet. All they've done is shut down the subreddit, shut down the website for a couple of days. The policy hasn't changed.
It's not like Reddit themselves, like the upper echelon of the Reddit Illuminati came in and just shut it down or something and as their form of protest. This is the site not working because so many communities are all going private at once, it seems. When you just try and go on the site's front page, it doesn't generate anything for you. It just kind of says there's a problem. But if you directly go to one of the subreddits that isn't participating in the protest, it will work. Mudahar just made a video covering this.
Let me see this. Yeah, the Diablo subreddit is not down. What about the Diablo 4 subreddit? That is also not down. If I look at WoW, WoW is a private community. Yeah, I mean, live stream fail is down. So yeah, Diablo players don't give a fuck. League of Legends is up too. It's a huge one. Yeah.
To r/sync pissers and they were still online. That was 3 hours ago and I just tried it again. And these brave patriots pissing in sinks are still here operating just fine on the platform.
Bro, what is that logo? What the fuck?
So it's not like Reddit itself is down. It's just so many subreddits have gone private that the website doesn't seem to know what to generate on the front page anymore. Oh my god. But if you go to a specific subreddit that isn't participating, it still functions. So like if you really love piss sinking or sink pissing, then you can go there and consume that content with no problem at all. This is actually a really interesting situation because Reddit is a legitimate top 10 most visited website in the world. Popular. It is a platform that everyone accesses at some point. And I make jokes about Reddit a lot and Redditors in particular, but that's not because I think the platform sucks or anything. I think it actually does have legitimate use from time to time. I think most of the subreddits are dog shit, like most of the default subs and all of that are just absolute worthlessness. But there are certain communities that are just dedicated to providing information in specific areas that have proven time and time again for myself and
Reddit is a very good place to find factual information, and it's a very bad place to have conversations and discourse. And the reason why is because factual information is graded on whether it's accurate or not, whereas people downvote based off of opinion in terms of discourse. So the other issue with that is that Reddit literally, you have to have an opinion that goes with the hive mind, because if you don't, you'll get downvoted, and then that's it. Like you're down, people don't see your post. They're at the bottom and nobody looks at it, and that's it, and you look bad. People even make fun of you for getting downvoted. It literally creates an echo chamber.
Many friends to actually be a very good resource to learn things and figure out how to fix problems. Like, you get the information without all of the bloat of looking it up on an article. Yeah. It's just the best way of sometimes getting quick fixes to problems. So I really do think Reddit as a platform does provide a good service from time to time, though the water does get muddy with how awful a lot of the other subs are. But overall, I don't think it's like the worst website ever. That title still belongs comfortably to either Twitter or Facebook. Pick your poison. So
I think Facebook is a lot worse personally, but I don't even really dislike a lot of the social media platforms. I think they're fine.
To see that this strike is actually like effectively shutting down Reddit for most people is very impressive. And I think it's a good thing overall because I never support when a company gets greedy like this, so I think standing up against it is great.
Yeah.
And Reddit is a platform that legitimately can't exist without the Reddit mods and the subreddits and all of that. It is entirely community driven. All of the content on that platform is user generated. So if the users never flip back on the subreddits, you lose all of the content, thus there's no reason to ever go to Reddit ever again.
I think that what's going to happen is that this is really the truth, is that Reddit is a platform, and the actual users, the overwhelming majority of users of Reddit are not affected by this at all. They don't care about the API stuff. They don't use add-ons for Reddit. They just browse Reddit and that's it. They don't give a fuck. So if the developers of these add-ons keep complaining about it and keep the subreddits down, the actual users will turn against them and be on the side of Reddit because they don't really care about this issue to begin with. It doesn't matter to them whether there's like difficulty moderating like they don't give a fuck about that. That's not their problem. They just want to look at pictures of cats. So the moment that you make an average, this is like a very big, a big thing I think is true in almost every single regard, is that the moment that you force somebody onto a side or you take something away from a person in order to make them join your side, you will only push them away from you.
They just pack up and go elsewhere like a mass exodus. This is like fucking rapture for Redditors here at this point. Like, it is a pretty big deal. Now, I do think this entire Reddit blackout, all the protests here, have kind of shot themselves in the foot because they made it clear for a lot of the big subreddits that are offline right now,
it's only 2 days,
that they were only doing it for 48 hours. Which I think was a huge fucking blunder. You just gave up scholars, mate, right there. That doesn't really put a ton of pressure on the Reddit higher up anymore because you have given them an end date. You have told them when it stops. So they can just grit their teeth and bear it. Just endure for 2 days and then it's business as usual. Just 2 days of fucking holding on tight like it's a goddamn roll.
So, yeah, exactly. Like, so somebody says, what are they going to do? Like, what would the users do? Strike against the strikers? No, they would just migrate to new subreddits that are moderated by people that aren't opinionated about the changes. That's clearly what they would do. Like, it's not like this is going to be a massive protest or anything like that. It's just in general, that's it. Yeah, they're just going to migrate over and then that's it.
Roller coaster, and then you're back into clear skies. They shouldn't have said that they're only going offline for 2 days. I just don't think that puts enough pressure on them to actually get rid of the pricing model here for the API. Because they only have 2 days of their service being offline. I mean, that shit happens all the time in MMOs just for normal maintenance when things fuck up.
Yeah,
right?
Things go offline. That's life. I mean, but usually whenever an MMO goes offline for a little bit, people don't all move over to another game. What could happen is they could also migrate over to the new websites. Reddit grew whenever Dig collapsed at the same time. Like, but how long was Dig around? Like, Dig was around for like maybe what, like 3-4 years, something like that. A few years. Reddit has been around for like 15 years. Reddit has like way more of a tenure than Dig does. And also the internet back then was much more malleable. It was much more transient. Things changed a lot more often back then. Now things don't change that much anymore because people have already decided which websites they go to and which ones they don't go to.
Like, it's not going to all of a sudden change the way they're viewing their business model. I know some subreddits are going offline indefinitely, but a lot of the ones that I've read are doing 48 hours. And I think the reason that they made it known that it's a 48-hour protest is so that way the community members
don't just leave and go somewhere else.
Like, think that it was dead forever. They didn't want them to feel like now they no longer have that community to go to for information.
Yeah.
So I think it was just trying to keep them updated with what's going on. But in doing so, I think it was a bit of a misstep for the overall strike. Because, like I said,
they're just going to wait it
out. With only a 48-hour offline period, Reddit, I don't think, is going to overturn this decision. Because they'll just get away with it after 2 days. But I would quickly like to toy around with the idea that this does end up killing Reddit as a website entirely. It ceases to exist.
Very nice
That
fantasy.
would be, I think, the biggest collapse of a service ever. Like, I was talking about this on stream.
Let's see. I mean, MySpace was kind of big, but like not compared to like what Reddit is now. I would say Yahoo. Like, Yahoo used to be like massive. And like now it's like the only time you hear about Yahoo is whenever your grandma accidentally downloads one of their toolbars. That's it. AOL, yeah.
But the one that immediately popped in my head was MySpace, when MySpace ultimately failed. And then Tumblr, which I actually just totally forgot about. But Tumblr was another top 10 website that killed itself when it banned porn.
That's right.
That pretty much buried it on the spot when they implemented that new policy. I know it still is around. It's just not even close to how popular it used to be.
Yeah.
But with Reddit, this could be a legitimate, like, dead site. If the community doesn't come back, if they don't unprivate their subreddits, if they go elsewhere or something, then that website can't exist anymore because it is legitimately only user-generated content. You lose the users, you lose the whole site.
Yeah.
And I remember reading last night, as well as I'd always heard this before, that only like the top 5 Reddit mods control like a large portion of the top subreddits. So all of your subreddits, for the most part, that people go to, your default subs, your huge players, are controlled by like the same 5 people.
It sounds like
if
real life.
If you piss them off and they all just leave and take the subreddits offline with them, they alone have dealt a very deep blow to Reddit itself.
I personally don't think so. I think you just replace those people with 5 more people and you just keep going. It's the same thing that happened with Riot. It's like the LCS. I mean, did Riot... I feel like it would have been less insulting if whenever the LCS players decided to protest, Riot just gave them applications to McDonald's. That's really what happened. You know, like, no one's irreplaceable. Well, especially not somebody who's a moderator for an internet forum. That's just how it is.
So that is pretty crazy, just how much power the people have on Reddit in terms of like this protest and its impact on the site as a whole. So overall, I just find this whole thing very fascinating, and I am hoping for the best outcome here. I hope that the community wins here and Reddit won't charge this crazy exorbitant fee for API access, because there's nothing wrong with having third-party apps, right? I think most people would agree, in a lot of cases, third-party apps are much better than the official one. I don't use the official Reddit app, but from everything I understand, it's a pile of shit compared to the other options available from third-party developers. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit.
I just, for me, I only use the, I'll just go onto the browser and I just look it up on the internet. I don't have any apps or anything like that.
So yeah.
Someone once said that
Let me see here. They can't serve ads on third-party apps? No? Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I just use it on my browser and I use the old version of Reddit and not the new one whenever I'm browsing personally. Yeah. I don't give a fuck about any of that, like the apps or anything like that. It doesn't matter to me. And I think that also, like, again, it's a very dangerous position to be in, because like the truth is the Reddit mods and these apps don't actually have any bargaining power. And to the extent that they try to exercise what they believe to be bargaining power, they will lose it. So like they can only exercise it in very measured ways that the company can clearly account for. Like, that's it. Reality checks, yeah, that's delete old Reddit too because they use the same API. Well, if they do, then they do, right? That's all there is to it. And also, didn't Reddit, the people that run Reddit, say that the blackout doesn't bother them at all and they don't care? Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they said that. I feel like the 48-hour window is because they don't want to get unmodded. Yeah. Because, like, the Reddit admin, the website only works because users create the content and moderate it themselves. Yeah, but here's one thing that, like, I think you're forgetting, is that, do you think that these 5 admins are the only power-tripping nerds on the internet that are willing to moderate an internet community? You just kick them out and then get 5 more, and they'll do it for free. They could just remove the ability to private a page. They have no actual bargaining power at all. That's just the truth. Because there's no other website to go to instead of Reddit. It's like, think about if people were complaining about Twitch and Kick, Rumble, and YouTube didn't exist. Oh, we're not going to stream today. Okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Didn't your Reddit go private too? Yeah. Yeah, we stand in solidarity with them. We're going to support them. I think it's a good cause. Absolutely. And my mods made the decision, not me, They said that they use some of the API functions that helps them easier. It makes it easier for them to moderate. And I deferred to them because they're the ones that use it more often, and I let them make the call. And so they decided they wanted to make the Reddit private, and that's it. And I support them. But, you know, I still have to be realistic too. It's also easy to be in solidarity. Just press a button and you're on strike, 5-head. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not really that hard to do. Send solidarity and strike will end in 24 hours or 48 hours. Well, yep, there we go. And, I mean, I'm not really... Yeah, I mean, will you keep Reddit down if other people do? Yeah, I will. I'll keep it down for a period of time. I mean, obviously, I've got to make my own evaluations of, like, what I think is, like, worthwhile and, you know, worth my time. But I'll support whatever my moderators want to do. Because they're the ones that use the site more than I do. And, yes, obviously, it's, like, of course, I would probably draw the line somewhere. But in general, yeah, I would support them. We can use Discord, yeah, or something else like that. And Discord also has problems, too. Let's see here. I understand why they're doing it, but I've been having computer problems, and Reddit normally has the answers, and I can't find the actual helpful articles without any of them being private. Can't you just use the cached version of the article? Can't you just, like, right-click on the Google search and then use cached version, and you can watch it? You can look at it? Yeah, try and do that. Also, using cached versions will allow you to go through a lot of paywalls on websites, too. Yeah, Wayback Machine, something like that, too. Damn, I'm gonna do that, thanks. Yeah, bro, like, I've been on the internet a long time. It's pretty easy to get around shit. Stack Overflow is already better for PC problems. Oh, I'm not sure about that. I've never used that website before. Did you see the live stream showing the official subreddit tracker? Probably going to see a lot of them back online in 20 minutes. Remember the East Coast hits, yeah, maybe you're right. I'll link you guys the video. This is obviously a Moist Critical Charlie video. And I agree with everything he's saying in here. And I do think that, yeah, the Reddit admins just have to wait it out. And that's it. Nobody gives a fuck. And it's over. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, good video, short and to the point. Yeah, he does a much better job than I do with, like, kind of keeping things to the point. I find it very impressive, especially considering how much I talk about random stuff and react to things in chat. Anyway, so, overall, like, I'm not surprised with the Reddit stuff. I don't think it's going to change, to be honest. I think they might lower the price, and then that's it.